All right, in three, two, one. What's going on, folks? Your guy Tommy Gann here for Ice Cold Sports, America's Sports Show. Happy to be here with you, beautiful, beautiful people. And yes, as you probably know, the Georgia Bulldogs are national champions. They win over TCU. Currently, I was going to wait till the end of the game to give you the exact score at the end. But right now, Georgia's winning, what, 66-7? I mean, it's an absolute dressing down, folks. It's a, 65-7. About as embarrassing as I've seen in a long time uh, for TCU. This was an absolute catastrophe for the Horned Frogs, a sad send off for a really cool journey that they went on all season. Max Duggan, obviously Heisman finalist. Uh, no one, the 5-7 last year, no one expected them to make it this far, and now to see it all crumble down like this, I think really sucks. It's crazy that Georgia came this close to being eliminated last game. This close, 3 points. And then tonight they just let the dogs out. Stetson Bennett went off 6 touchdowns, although, you can always say that when it makes it a lot easier when you have incredible guys like Brock Bowers around. The defense coming up with multiple big turnovers. TCU's high-powered offense, nothing going on. The overhit in this game without even TCU needing to score more than one touchdown. Just about as unprecedented of an ass kicking as I've seen in a long time in the national championship game. Um, Hopefully, TCU, if they get a chance like this again, will maybe take the example from this. They can't do any worse. You play this game again, it couldn't be any worse than it is right now. They could only be doing better. So, I think that's a fair thing to say. Um, Obviously, Georgia back-to-back national champions, first time since Alabama in the early 2010s. Pretty impressive. We'll see if they can keep that up again. 3 times is a tough task. 3 straight national championships. That would be unprecedented. Obviously, never say never, uh, but it will be tough to come back again and again and again. To do it a third straight time would be difficult. But hey, I doubted them at the beginning of this year. Who knows? So congratulations to them, I guess. Big win for the Bulldogs. Even though Uga couldn't be there, and I obviously I was rooting for TCU, but it's what are you gonna do? Great college football season though. Happy uh, we got a nice one this year. Had a very interesting time. It sucks the national championship couldn't be any more interesting, but what are you gonna do? It's just the way the cookie crumbles. So yeah, Sonny Dykes. I mean, if I were TCU, I would still, I don't know. I would still hold my head high, even though tonight did not go the way that it planned. At the same time, it's hard to compare yourself to SEC country after this kind of just an absolute destruction boat race. You can say a billion other things at the hands of the Bulldogs. What else can you say? What else can you say at this point? Maybe if it was more exciting, a better game, I'd have a better recap for you. But overall, it was just a shellacking. It was about as bad as it gets. I mean, it's about as bad of a championship game as we've seen since the Bears beat Washington back in was it 1940 NFL title game by was 72-0. That was it's not too far off from being 72-7 right now. I mean, it's wild. It is a wild time. They're beating up on them like they're whooping them like they stole something. It's crazy. Moving on from that, a couple other big storylines. Obviously, Demar Hamlin has been in our thoughts and prayers for the last over a week now since his injury. Um, Obviously, just that was a tragic turn of events. Thankfully, as you probably know, has began the road towards recovery. I think I think he appreciates all of our prayers, and I think it's beautiful to see how everyone came together to pray for him. And he is now out. He's now in Buffalo. He's traveled to Buffalo. He's I believe he's still getting some medical care in Buffalo, but he's out of the hospital. I think that's he still has ways to go. He still has recovering to do, but it's a very promising sign after what looked so scary and so dark and so down in the dumps. He has bounced back, and it's beautiful to see. And I am happy for the Hamlin family, for Demar, for his fiance, for the people of Buffalo, for his teammates, and his teammates made him proud on Sunday with their win. Um, Pretty cool stuff. Pretty cool stuff. Including that kickoff for a touchdown, taken for a touchdown right there. Beautiful stuff. I know I saw the video. He was getting hyped up. Eh, Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff for the Bills. Awesome stuff for Demar Hamlin. Keep him in your prayers, folks. I, all from all of us here at High School Sports, we love you, Demar. Well, maybe you'll be back soon. Who knows? But we all hope so. Uh, in other news, so maybe one of my favorite times of the year, the Green Bay Packers have been eliminated from the postseason. They lost to the Lions, even though the Lions did not have anything on the line because they were eliminated by the Seahawks earlier that day. They were playing for pride, and one pride they did play for, and that pride was pride in beating the Green Bay Packers and Aaron Rodgers. And man, if that's the last pass Aaron Rodgers throws in the fourth quarter, needing to make a drive, and he throws an awful interception, wow, what a way to go. Because he was sounding really, really, I think I described it as nostalgic after that game. Very nostalgic. Very much wistfully looking around and talking about the fans and talking about his teammates and talking about this and that and the individual reporters. And listen, Aaron Rodgers could just be hamming it up, sapping it up, making it seem like this because he's done this the last couple off seasons. He's made it kind of sound like, oh, I'm we'll see. So I don't know, but then they get it all worked out, and then it ends up being whatever, because it's kind of just a relationship where they just can't say no to each other. Aaron Rodgers can't say no to the field and to the money, of course, and the Packers, are accept the fact that maybe they're not going to win, but they're going to keep on doing kind of the same thing over and over again. I don't know. I don't know if Jordan Love would be the answer, anyways. People seem to be very high on him. I've seen very limited action to make me believe that, but we'll see. I don't know. You don't know. We'll see. But man, what a crazy one. But hey, Aaron, at least he didn't lose in the playoffs this year. That's one nice thing to happen. He didn't get embarrassed in the playoffs this year. He didn't even make it. Flipping it over to the other side of that famous rivalry, Bears Packers, the Bears lost to the Vikings. Justin Fields was out for good reason. He shoulder injury and stuff like that. And then the Texans, however, if they lost, Texans would get the number one overall pick. Bears would get number two overall pick. However, don't count out Lovie Smith. Don't ever count out Lovie Smith. And man, oh man, there's a reason for that. Davis Mills. Hail Mary pass. We were calling it a Hail Mary, but it was a Hail Mary technically. Caught in the end zone. Then they get the 2-point conversion, and they win it against the Colts in a spot where they should have. It would have been better for them if they would have lost. But guess what? I think Lovey knew he was on the way out. And Davis Mills probably ain't going to be the starter next year, so why not? Go for it. This is football. You play to win the game. We all know that. Incredible. And then, of course, after the game, they fired Lovie Smith, which I think is completely unfair. I think Lovey deserves another season. He was handed one of the worst rosters in the National Football League, and yet he competed week in and week out with that team when he definitely shouldn't have been. There were games where he was staying in it where there was no good reason except for the force of will and the coaching ability of Lovie Smith himself. That's the truth. And he deserved another year in Houston. He didn't get it. Pretty sad. Sad stuff. Okay, right now, I think they're about to they're letting the clock run out, and Georgia's about to win 65-7 final. So there you go. We did get the final on the podcast, 65-7. Happy. We'll see what the Texans get. That organization. There's 1,000 things you can say about it. I think Lovey should have got another year. It was a great day if you're a Bears fan, though. Lovie Smith, obviously former Bears coach, Bear for life. So taking that into account, I guess, I don't know. But man, Bears now have the number one overall pick. And this is something I've been facing these last couple days, including from friends of the podcast. People have been on this podcast. You know who you are. Uh, and a lot of these people have been trolls, but some of them have been serious. Some of them have been serious. I had one friend, and I won't say his name, but his name starts with a Z, and his last name starts with an L, and it's like an animal. Like, you know, the Detroit Lions. I mean, that's Z Detroit Lions. How about that? We'll call them Detroit. Detroit was telling me that, well, the Bears should look at drafting a quarterback first overall. I mean, look at this yards per, attempt for, adjusted yards per attempt for Justin Fields, yada, yada, yada. What? And people on Twitter, I see people basically trolling most part on Twitter. Oh, do the Bears do it? Do the Bears pull the trigger and Justin Fields? I don't know. Get out of here. Get out of here. Bam, boom, out of here. I mean, listen, it's hard to be so dense that you can watch Justin Fields play in 2022 and not see, number one, a star in the making, franchise quarterback for sure, and number two, see the disadvantages he had when it came to passing the ball. And that is what really grinds my gears. Grinds my gears. He has the passing ability, he has the arm talent. He's not a perfect passer yet. However, what's really handicapped that is the fact that he has no targets and he has zero time in the pocket. And I think most intelligent people understand this. They understand this. And the idea that the Bears even entertain for any quarterback, even entertain it, unless it's a scenario where they can get more draft capital. Unless that's the case. Unless that's the case, there's no even reason to entertain another quarterback or drafting another quarterback. All right? I just want that to be said. I think that needs to be said. I want that to be said. Justin Fields deserves better, and you know that. Bears fans are with me. It is the truth. Justin Fields is the truth. He's number one. He is him. He is going to make the Bears, I think, great again. And I think people need to stop trolling, stop with this running back stuff. They don't know what they're talking about. They don't watch the games. They just look up the stat sheet after the game, and they don't have any context. And they looked in context, and they just look to knock a good man down. Knock a good man down. Sad day, bad day, sad day. Important I say that. Very important I say that. Another news before we log off here. KD strains his MCL. He's going to be out for the month. Listen, that's a tough break for the Nets. I'll be honest. I mean, the Nets, they've had a pretty good go of it as of late. And this similar thing happened last year where they were doing well. Then, KD gets banged up and then they start faltering down the stretch. Does this happen again? I don't know. It's difficult. The Nets have always felt like are just a team built in the boardroom without the heart and the soul of a true champion, and I think that's probably going to be the case going into, this year as well. Going into this postseason as well. I don't expect them to do much in the postseason. In any case, this just hampers them more. KD is obviously still one of the best in the game. Hard to say anything bad about Kevin Durant as a basketball player, and I don't know. It could have been worse, obviously, but an MCL injury still is pretty serious. Uh, let's just see where it takes them. But I don't know. I don't know. I don't know where this is going to end up going for the Nets at all. In the first place, the Nets are the Nets, and that's not really a good thing. And with no KD, doesn't help that. And with KD, it's better, but it's the inevitable will still happen in the postseason, at least in my opinion. And in any case, folks, thank you all for watching and or listening. Please subscribe on YouTube and Apple Podcasts. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at IceColdSPRTS, or go to icecoldsports.com. for our blogs and all different other things and links into a bunch of different stuff. And go to my socials at Tommy S. Gahan. Um, Comment, rate 5 stars on our podcasts, and comment on YouTube, uh, and tell me about who you think said these disparaging things and even suggested the Bears should look at another quarterback other than Justin Fields. That certain man I call Detroit, the Detroit Lions. You know who you are. You know who you are. All right. All right. All right. Any case, I'm Tom again, and this has been Ice Cold Sports. See you guys.